welcome back to the Jacksonville Trades podcast, The Jote. You can hear, we have every podcast, we have a pet with us in some capacity, so you can hear our dogs running. We had Mitch's dog in the first one, we had the cat, we had Stitch. So if you hear little pitter-patters, it's our dogs. Today, I am so excited to have on with us, well, you're like family to me, but you are a pillar of this community. This is Joe Reynolds. And today we're going to talk all about everything you've done for this community and all the things you've done, and it's your day to brag about yourself.
Well, I won't do much bragging, I hope. But
well, I will. I'll brag for you.
The community's done a lot for me, so that's it's nice that
you've done a lot.
That I gave a little back. So.
I would wager to say it's a lot more than a little. So I think, so Alec and I and Colin, we always like to start, Colin's not here today, he's our third co-host. He had to work today, but we always like to start off when we talk to people about the beginning. So paint a picture for us of life at the beach when you were young.
Well, there was a lot less lights and a lot less stop signs and a lot less traffic. But I lived in all the beaches. I've lived in Jax Beach, Neptune Beach, Atlantic Beach, and of course Mayport. That's where I started on Roxy Street in Mayport. That was where our first house was. And then when my sisters were born, we got too big for that house, and we moved out to a house my mom had built on Mayport Road. So we didn't go too far from Roxy, but we left the fishing village and went on Mayport Road. And then actually we lived there until I actually moved back there when I graduated from Florida.
You did? Yeah. Behind the fishing village?
Yeah. No, on Mayport Road.
In that house?
Yeah, Mayport Road, yeah. So I moved back there at 22 trying to get my first job. And so we lived there the rest of our lives. Then once we left that house, and then I lived in Jax Beach and Neptune and now Atlantic Beach. So and everything.
For viewers, Joe's family and my family go back generations. And can you talk about the Mayport families? Because there are quite a few last names around here that came straight out of Mayport. And I know you grew up with a lot of these families. Can you talk about them and tell us some of these last names?
And I'm glad you asked me that because this Saturday, my Aunt Margie Floyd, whose brother is Al Leake, who owned, like your grandparents own the fishing dock in Mayport.
Related to Walter, Captain Walter?
Yes, right.
Okay.
Yeah. So she passed, and we're going to be a celebration of life at 2:00 at the church in Mayport.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear. I love that church.
Yes, and also this past week, Joe Roland passed.
Yes.
Whose dad, Matt Roland, ran the other seafood dock.
Right.
So there's when I was growing up, he was the greatest surfer in the world. Yeah. Whether he was or not, I don't know. But we all thought he was the greatest surfer in the world. And he was we were pretty close in age. He was probably 2 or 3 years older than me, 3 or 4 years older than me. And then he had a bunch of brothers. He had 3 brothers. And my dad ran a shrimp boat called the Roland Star.
I didn't know that.
That Matt Roland, Joe Roland's dad, owned, and the Roland family owned. And he ran that until he couldn't run a shrimp boat anymore, I think. And so he ran that shrimp boat. So so it kind of go back with the packs with the dock, and then the Leaks, which is Floyd, and then of course Matt Roland Seafood. So
cool. So I'm trying to think. I want to talk more about. Do you want to talk about going to Fletcher?
Let me go back to Mayport. Let's get out of Mayport. That's we can start off in Mayport, and then that's kind of what I did in my life. I started in Mayport, so forever. My brother and I, Billy, we worked on the docks, and what we did is we moved concrete under the docks. So all the concrete along probably put there illegally.
Was y'all?
was put there by my brother and I. just back-breaking work. Bringing in rocks, rolling them under
Honest
the docks.
Work.
So if the docks ever collapsed, they would just collapse on the rocks. So all that beachfront, and we did Matt Roland's and we did Al Leak's. We didn't come down to where Safe Harbor is. We never went that far.
Okay.
So but we worked there. We both did, and I think it was his job, and he would make me help him, is basically. But I didn't get too much money for it, but we would do that.
That's like what Alec and I are doing right now. Yeah. I'm like, hey, you're going to do this for me. And he's like, all right.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah. Yeah, and one of my memories is a haunted house story.
In Mayport?
Yeah, Mayport haunted house. So y'all's Uncle D used to do this. Okay.
A haunted house?
Yeah, the haunted house. You know where the haunted house is on Roxy Street?
No, I've never heard of this.
You guys don't know the haunted house in Mayport? Are y'all really from Mayport?
I know, right? I guess not.
So on the corner right there is a 3-story house with the railing around and everything.
That's haunted?
Behind Safe Harbor is what you're talking about.
No. It's down on Roxy.
Oh,
You go down. You leave Safe Harbor and you head north.
Right.
You're headed to David Wayne Pack Park right there. You're headed there. Get that in. And anyways, so there's the haunted house there on the corner. So
I didn't realize that was haunted.
So when we were little, we would go, and mostly Dee would do it because Dee was smaller, because you had to get up under the wraparound porch, okay? And he would turn on the water faucet, and a woman would scream, and we'd run like the Dickens, okay?
A woman would scream?
A woman would scream. So, and we would do it not daily or weekly, but every 2 or 3 weeks we would go and see if we could make the woman scream again. And sure enough, D'd go under, he'd turn it on. Sometimes Donnie would be there, your Uncle Donnie. Sometimes David would be there.
Yep.
But me and Joe Floyd would be there, and maybe a couple other kids that I can't remember right now.
That is funny.
And turn it on, and woman scream, and we run, So when I got older, I would tell this story. Well, everybody's like, kind of like you guys. We didn't know there was a haunted house in Mayport, and tell us about that. So I said, well, let's go back and do it.
At what age?
Probably 16. I'm driving a car, so I had to be 16 or 17. So a guy named Robert Jackson, who lived in what we call East Mayport. You know where East Mayport is?
Is that, I'm trying, thinking
so,
like map
so it's like Hannah Park and all that, and Wonderwood now,
we're more
Wonderwood
north,
Road. He lived in East Mayport. That's what we call it, East Mayport. So he goes, yeah, let's go and let's do it. So it was totally explained. It was so strange when we did it. So we go back, and it was that cast iron pipe. You know how the water used to, now it's all PVC.
It's all PVC, yeah.
But it used to be the cast iron pipe, and they would run a long 15, 20 foot long pipe and to get water somewhere, And so the faucet had this long cast iron pipe running. And so I went under there, and I wedged myself up there and turned it on. Sure enough.
A lady screamed?
Yes.
No way.
Well, let me tell you what was happening. And you can imagine being little and thinking a woman's screaming.
A woman is screaming.
So it's on a well pump.
Okay.
And so the air would get built up, and that air would come screaming out before the water. And we were just little kids, and we were told it was haunted anyway.
Yeah.
And so we would hear this wind whistling, and all of a sudden to us it was
a terrifying, scary haunted
terrifying
house.
woman screaming, being murdered in this house. We had to get out of there. So
oh my God.
So I explained the woman screaming, probably 8 years later
after being terrified.
After being terrified. I went out there and said, okay, here it goes. Boom. And then that air starts flowing. We go, oh, y'all were right. There is a woman screaming. So we explained that part of it. But I'm surprised y'all don't know more about the haunted houses. Y'all will have to talk to my brother Billy about the haunted houses.
Speaking of Billy.
Yeah, speaking of Billy.
I have a bone to pick with you, and I was gonna pull it out today actually, but I didn't. God, he really likes you. I'm sorry for all this tapping.
Okay.
We're gonna have to put you up soon,
Don't blame
buddy.
me. I understand.
He's sweet.
Yes.
So at 18, my mom gave me a big box of stuff. My baby book, like all these things she'd collected over time for me to look through. And
I've heard this story.
I know, and I'm telling it again. And I was looking at, they like write in your baby book who came to see you, and I'm like, oh, and it said Billy Reynolds and Jason Reynolds came to the hospital. So that's funny. Where was Joe? You just didn't come to see me when I was born.
Well, was I in college? See, I might have been in Gainesville.
I'm 29.
So I'm thinking maybe I was in college because I was
29?
I'm
29.
You're 29. So what is this?
If you want to share your age with the class.
I'm 70. So where was I? I should have. What we're saying is, I missed you.
You missed you should have. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You weren't in college, and you were.
I don't know what happened.
Peyton, will you just let her?
They didn't.
You didn't come?
I didn't come.
You didn't come.
That's not good.
Your brothers came and you did not come.
My family came.
Yep, and not you.
I didn't make it.
You didn't make it, no.
Probably working.
I was going to say,
probably coaching or working.
Coaching. I was born during a Gator game. So that might have been key information because you did play.
Yes.
Oh, I'm going to rattle off these statistics for everybody. So Joe told me he wasn't going to brag about himself, but I came with receipts because this is what our show's about. Alec and I will tell you, it's to honor the person that we're speaking with. So if you don't mind, I'm going to, if you want to start getting into your coaching career, or do you want to still talk? Oh my gosh.
Well, I did want to get out of Mayport. I haven't gotten out of Mayport yet.
Do you want to go into?
My mind's still in Mayport.
So you attended Fletcher.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll start there.
I went to St. Paul's Catholic.
Okay.
There was no kindergarten, or if there was, I didn't go.
Okay.
Okay, so I went.
You didn't go to my birth either,
yes,
but that's.
I went 1st through 8th to St. Paul's Catholic, and then 9th grade I started. Now my older brother Billy, he went to Bishop Kenny.
Okay.
So he went the full the 12-year gauntlet. I got the 8 years, and then I was able to go to Fletcher, and strangely enough, when I went to Fletcher in 9th grade, academically you went to the high school, but athletically you played at the junior high, which was across the street, which was a little strange. So one of my first coaches was a guy named Mike Scanlon, and as y'all know, I'm assuming y'all know, the boat ramp in Mayport is named after Mike Scanlon.
Yes.
And I had played Pop Warner, and I want to talk about my Pop Warner coaches too at some point in time. But he was the first person that I realized had like a practice plan. This is kind of funny. I had played all those years. I don't know, when you're little, you just don't really know what's going on.
You're just running around.
It's like herding cats. They just push you over here, push you over there. But then it's all of a sudden in 9th grade, I realized
there's like structure to this.
This man has a plan. Like we do tackling drills, then we do blocking drills, and then we put them together and run a play, and then we do special teams. I was like, oh wow, this is more than I thought it was. This isn't just going out there and playing. There's a method to the madness here, and so I believe not only was he a teacher at Fletcher Junior in those days, that he also did like boat deep sea fishing things.
Okay.
And I think that's why the ramp is named after him. And Coach Sutton did that also.
Okay. Oh, Coach Sutton.
Yeah. Those two guys. I think they both owned boats and did a lot of deep sea fishing and all like that. And strangely enough, I never swim because I'm a terrible swimmer. but Coach Sutton, lucky for me, was the JV football coach.
Was he really? Okay. I thought he just did swim.
It was kind of funny when I wasn't on JV but for a couple of weeks. So I went from the junior high team to JV to varsity. I kind of moved up here real fast. But my JV coaches were Coach Sutton, Frank Hoy, who the baseball field and Jim Daugherty, which people said Jim Daugherty was the football coach. Yeah, all those guys coached football too. Hoy was baseball, Daugherty was basketball, Sutton was swimming. But then they did JV football, and so those were the coaches. I mean, they're saying like, these guys are amazing.
Yeah.
To have amazing coaches like that.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to do that. Like in 9th grade, they were like, I had really good English teachers. I had Miss West and Sarah McMahon. They were my English teachers, like 9th, 10th grade. And then Desmond Waters was, I think, either an English teacher, maybe later on, or maybe humanities. I don't know what I'm taking. But what they had us all do was write stories. That's what we did. We wrote so much in school then. I don't know if kids do now or not. But we were, what do you want to be when you grow up? What did you do this summer? Yeah. Tell us about your family. Tell us about your church. Whatever it was. And we were constantly writing stories, which I still like to do that.
And that's what this is. Our whole show's about.
Yeah.
Is that,
So those teachers really had us. And I can remember in 9th grade, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be the football coach and athletic director at Fletcher High School. Okay.
Yeah, you really manifested that. You really wanted that. That's great.
What did you do this summer? I worked on a shrimp boat. What did you learn? I don't ever want to work on a shrimp boat again. Yes, that's what I realized. Yes, never again do I ever want to be on a boat or work on a boat.
A shrimp boat.
Yes,
that is honest.
So
grassroots work.
So going back to Mayport Village for a minute. So Coach Scanlon has the boat ramp named after him. Then right across the street, just east, is the park that's named after y'all's great uncle, I believe.
Yes,
David Pack, your great uncle?
Great
He's a great uncle. Yeah. Okay. So that park's named after, and then the community center is named after Bill Gulliford. Do y'all know Bill Gulliford?
I know that name.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Great city councilman for many, many years. Okay. Lives in Atlantic Beach. Was great for the beaches. I always wanted him to be mayor. He's one of those, for some reason it didn't work, or he probably didn't want to do it. Yeah, he probably didn't want to do it. But he started out, he just represented the beaches, and then he ran for an at-large seat, and he represented all of Jacksonville. And he was just, when I went there and I saw it was David and Bill Gulliford, and I said, this is a great little hub right here for people at the beach to hear about these guys, because just fantastic.
Didn't know David. I think he passed before I was born. I don't remember.
I think so.
Yeah.
But him and my mom were so close, and I've just never heard anything but wonderful things about him.
When Mayport started to really change from a fishing village, when it kind of started to change, and your granddad and David and their siblings really kept it together with Safe Harbor. I mean, that's what they did. Singleton's still open by the ferry, but all those other, you got O-Search now, which is great.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. But as far as having a lot of jobs for people, you can imagine having, y'all know how many people y'all have to hire. You can imagine having 3 of those docks with boats triple would be out in the ocean, and people have to work, and people come for with jobs. So it was a great hub for jobs at that point in time. And Gerald and David and their brothers and sisters kept that going, and still have. So I mean, I really think without them, I don't know that there's really a Mayport Village like the rest of us see it. So and we got to reenact a haunted house, since y'all don't know about the haunted house. And
I bet you I know the house. I think she's trying to use her litter box.
It's right on the corner.
She knows how to open that door. God, my animals. So this is one of the reasons we really liked Coach Reynolds' house, because of that extra room. So I was like, we can do our show in there and not have all these. Like, he is just trying to get. Yeah, she just needs to use her litter box.
I'm trapping her. I don't care.
She'll open it. She knows how to get out.
That'll be a funny clip in there.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you want to go into?
So I think we're moving out of Mayport.
Are we moving out of Mayport? Do you want to talk about your time at Fletcher? Or do you want to go into
Florida? We got to do St. Paul's for a second.
Okay.
I
didn't realize how long because we went to St. Paul's. I didn't know
that was been going on that long.
No,
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to say it like that.
No, I get it. No, and even longer, because my brother Billy went. He's 5 years older than I am.
Yeah.
People think we're closer in age, but he's real old.
All look young to me. Do you want St. Paul's?
St. Paul's.
Yes.
St. Paul's. All right.
Yeah.
So of course, you do confirmation and communion, and you remember those events.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how old you get, you remember
them.
Yeah, you remember those events. But the biggest event I remember as a student at St. Paul's, I think I must have been a 4th grader, was President Kennedy was assassinated. And they came over the speaker.
Oh, really?
And they said, the president's been shot. Well, teachers and nuns, they're all just boo-hoo crying.
Yeah.
These people that are strong and are, fuss at you and tell you what to do, and you're scared of them. They're all of a sudden, they've all just broke down.
Right.
And they made us I don't know why they made us do this. They made us get under our desk. I don't know if they thought the country was under attack.
Under attack.
Yeah,
Oh my
I don't
gosh.
know. But we had to get under our desk. I remember getting under the desk. Of course, you're little, you can get under a desk easy. And they said not to talk. And I was a pretty good rule follower at that point in time. But the other kids weren't. So the other kids are talking. And I'm thinking like this is not going to
really
turn
scary.
out well.
Yeah.
Because these women are all crying.
They're crying. They told us to do something.
Something's going really bad.
We need
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And they say, don't talk. I ain't talking. And I'm shutting my eyes because I don't want to get accused of talking. Oh. I'm figuring like, if I shut my eyes, put my head down, I can't get in any trouble about this talking on. Of course, nobody ever got in trouble. Then they came on a little bit later and said the president was dead. They announced it over the speaker that the president was dead. So it was.
That's crazy.
It was pretty earth-shattering. But lucky for me, and I don't know very many of the other St. Paul's boys that played Pop Warner football, but for some reason my mom signed me up for Pop Warner football. I have no idea, and it was around that same time, fourth or fifth grade, and I was thinking about this, and of course I didn't remember the practice schedule or any of that stuff, obviously, because I didn't remember schedules in ninth grade, but those men that gave of their time, it's just amazing, and I believe they all were police officers.
Really?
I think they were. So Carl Stuckey, who was chief of police of Atlantic Beach, and his boys all played football at Fletcher. John's my age, a little bit younger.
And
and they played soccer and But he kind of ran that Pop Warner program, and Richard Pike, whose son Ricky was chief of police of Neptune Beach, and now he's the city manager. He was one of the coaches.
Aww.
A guy, I don't know this man's first name, but his boys played at Fletcher. They called him Big Daddy Peretti. And Big Daddy. That's how I remember him. Like I was trying. His son, one of the boys was Danny, so he might have been Danny Senior for all I know. But anyway, Big Daddy Peretti. And then a guy named Junior Morgan, whose oldest boy played at Fletcher with me, and also played for the Miami Hurricanes. And,
Did you play?
We played each other. We played against each other.
Yeah.
We beat them.
There you go.
Yeah. So when I played,
maybe I got the timelines wrong. But
We'll skip to Florida. So when I played at Florida, we beat Miami 4 times and Florida State 4 times.
Excellent.
So there we go.
So every time you were there,
we go. It's easy.
That's the key.
It's
Perfect.
Easy. Yeah. So, and a guy named Claude Midget, and Coach Midget lived right by the police station in Atlantic Beach, a house right on the corner. He lived right there. And Carl Stuckey would take me home on Mayport Road, and half the time he stopped at that McDonald's in Atlantic Beach. And,
oh my gosh!
Yeah, there you go.
That was there.
That's a funny story.
Wow.
Or it was some food store. I think it was a McDonald's.
That's funny. Anyway, wow, that's been there a while then.
Yeah.
And that Dairy Queen too. It was like our two.
Yeah.
We're so like locals only, but then we're like, but keep the Dairy Queen.
So definitely the Dairy Queen was there because Des Hamilton and I. So Des was the captain of the baseball team, and he played football, and I was captain of the football team, and I was terrible at baseball, but I went to the games.
Yeah.
To support Des.
Friends.
That was my dog in those days, And every day he and I would go to Dairy Queen to eat lunch. Now this may be before there was open campus. I don't know, but we would still go. Yeah, we would still go. And his mom worked at the Dairy Queen. So
look, there's our next animal.
We got free food.
I'm sorry. This is just so we can never get through one without animals.
Yeah. Keep going.
Can you still hear me?
Put it in the office or something.
So strange enough, I became head football coach at Fletcher, and Des became head baseball coach.
Oh, really? After all that, so you went up together?
Yeah, we went right up together. Went together.
That's
and then he actually passed away on the mound. He was.
Oh, really?
He was throwing batting practice at Florida State College.
What better way to go, though?
And kind of a little bit like Joe Roland with the surfing. It's the same thing, but
doing what they love.
He threw a pitch and went over forward, and they couldn't bring him back. So
That's so sad.
And he was young. This was a while back. Yeah. This was a while back. So,
I'm sorry
anyway,
to hear that.
So we come out of Mayport.
Yep.
We
went to St. Paul's, and now you're at Fletcher.
We did Pop Warner, and now we're back to Mike Scanlon in the ninth grade.
Yeah, Fletcher. So this is, really where, not to discredit anything prior to that, but I did a poll. I just want you to know how much you've impacted people. So I did a poll on our Instagram, but I actually did this poll, I think 2 or 3 years ago with you. I don't remember. We were at a cafe, and I just took a picture of you, and I jokingly posted it and said, "Did this man teach you to drive?" And do you know how many people responded?
I taught a lot of people how to drive.
And again, this is not even this is not even probably a fraction of the people you actually taught, but 100 people responded to that poll.
Yeah.
And
there's been a lot more.
Yeah, right. There has been, but in that moment, almost within 24 hours, 100 people responded to the poll.
The good thing about teaching drivers there, because it is hard to do.
Yes, you're dealing with
most kids at the beach, their parents have taught them to drive.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not as hard as it sounds. Because I know some areas kids never been behind the wheel of a car before.
Right.
Can't start the car.
Right.
Which side's the brake, which side's the gas. Whoa.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. But for the most part, the parents do a really, really good job. And my mom used to teach kids in Mayport how to drive.
Oh,
which
really?
Is kind of
That's so funny. It's full circle.
She drove the school bus. And then she would teach kids how to drive. So for me to teach drivers there was kind of strange because that's what she did in Mayport all the time.
I just want to get across to anyone that maybe did not go to Fletcher or is not from around here, how intertwined with that school that you are and how important you are to that school and to a lot of the people here. So that poll was just an example, but you went to Fletcher.
My mama went to Fletcher.
Yes. So it's and so you said you started in ninth grade and you went right to varsity team.
Well, I played on the which was the junior high team. It's a ninth grade team. It was 8th and 9th graders. Mm-hmm. It was across the street. Okay. And then when that season was over, I moved up to JV.
Okay.
And then when the JV season was over, I was 2 days on the varsity team practice.
Okay.
But basketball started. And so they said anybody that wants to play basketball, you're really not going to play. You're just going to practice. Mm-hmm. Need to go and play basketball. So at that point, I'm trying to remember, I think, was Eddie Shea might have been the basketball coach. And he might have been a JV football coach too. I think maybe I went to him, and I think I said, "Should I go play basketball?" And he says, "No, you're no good in basketball. just keep playing football." But I wanted to play basketball. Mm-hmm. I loved the basketball, and so I didn't listen to him. I went ahead and went to that. But I remember that was funny. He goes, "No, you're good in football. Don't worry about basketball." No. And he was the basketball coach and the football coach at the time.
That's funny.
So I went and played basketball, and Coach Daugherty was the varsity coach, but I didn't play for him until the next year, moving up the next year. Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to skip to this yet, but obviously the recruitment process today looks a lot different than it probably did when you were going through the recruitment process for Florida. So do you want to go there next, or do you want to keep talking Fletcher? Because
that was such a fun time for me.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was fun.
How did that? You were always a Gator, right? You were always a fan of the Gators.
So originally I was going to be a Seminole.
Oh.
Yes, originally. So because they were the first school to offer me a scholarship.
Okay.
Yeah. There was a man that lived in Neptune Beach. His name was Mr. Harrison. And he was an alumni. And, I went to his house a couple of times. He would come to practice, maybe give me a ride home and different things like that. He kind of was their alumni recruiter in the area or something like that. And really did a fantastic job. I couldn't have... I didn't, when I decided on Florida, I didn't really care about telling the Florida State coaches. It was Mr. Harrison.
Yeah.
Oh, I just felt awful about, saying, telling him.
Sorry.
So they started recruiting me my junior year. And I had, I had offers from Miami. I made a trip there. Had offers for Florida State. Made a trip there. I took 2 trips to Florida. George Grandy would take me. He and his wife Mary would take me to the Gator games. And years later, I said something to him about it. I never really felt like I thanked y'all enough. Y'all would take me to the games, and he says, man, we should have thanked you. He said, they would pay our way over. They'd give us tickets. They'd give us a hotel room. And I go, oh, really? He goes, yeah. He goes, you're the greatest deal ever. He goes, we should be thanking you because they paid for everything.
They're just doing it all.
Yeah, I had no idea. I was always oblivious to how those things that were happening.
So what made you choose Florida as opposed to the other schools?
So my mom and I made a trip to Vandy.
Oh, okay.
Vanderbilt.
Oh, I love that. That's a beautiful school.
Yeah, and every place we went, we fell in love with the place. I mean, are you kidding me?
It's hard to.
Yeah, it's hard not to. And my last trip was South Carolina.
Okay.
So I made a trip up there, and I get in the car. We're coming from the airport, and I'm trying to decide, and song comes on the radio, something like, in my mind, I'm going to Carolina. And I'm like, oh my God, is this a sign I'm supposed to go to Carolina, And so I get this ringing in my ear. I get up on the Intercoastal Waterway Bridge, which was half the size that it is now. And I'm looking at the beach, and I'm thinking, so I go talk to my Uncle Bobby, my mom's brother. And I tell her, I said, I've got this really hard decision, and everybody's just been great. And everybody's just saying, it's your decision. Nobody's telling me to do anything.
Which sometimes is harder. You just want someone to tell you what to do.
And I'm trying to figure it out. I kind of committed to Florida State. And, I kind of don't want to go there now. And he said, you got to go to Florida. And I said, well, why? Because I was thinking about this South Carolina.
Yeah.
And Paul Diesel was the head coach at South Carolina. I'll tell you Paul Diesel's story here in a minute. So he goes, all those schools are too far. We'll never be able to see you play. You got to go to Gainesville. Our cars aren't good enough to drive a long way.
All the way up there.
Yeah, we your mom will never. If you go any place, but how are you going to get home?
Right.
You got to go. So basically, it was location.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
it does make a difference.
Yeah. So that's why I wound up but my second pick was Florida State. So
okay.
Yeah.
So funny thing for everyone, I found this online because we like to put links up of some of the people and places we've talked about. So if people don't know about them, they can read more. And I found I told you the all-time letter winner, and they had your name, but they only had 1975, and you said it was 1974 and 1975. And they put an email where you can say, send an email to this person if we need to make any corrections. So I will be sending them an email.
As long as you're in there, that's all that matters.
I will send them an email and say, we need one more year on this person, please.
It doesn't matter to me. I have 2. I have a jacket, and then I have a ring.
You've got your proof.
Yeah, I've got.
You send me a picture, and I'll send it to him and say, we've got proof.
But 75 is good enough for me. I'll take it.
Yeah. And you were a linebacker?
Yeah, at that point I kind of moved to special teams.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I never started at Florida, but I started on special teams, which they consider it starting, but kind of to me,
right.
I really don't, didn't back then.
I think I consider it.
Yeah.
Kickoff,
punt team, that stuff. Yeah.
What did you end up majoring in?
Physical education.
Okay,
yeah.
That's what I thought. So this is your life is just
from ninth grade on,
working out well like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Luckily for me, I got an endorsement in driver's ed. So you you could take like 9 weeks and take these driver's ed classes. And of course, they were paying for everything at that point. So I said, I'll do that. That way I'll have something else.
Oh, they did it for you at Florida?
So I did it at Florida, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, because there's certain programs you can get your certificate through the program.
So I'm a health PE major with a driver's ed endorsement. Then I went and got my master's at UNF later, and I'm certified in administration supervision.
Okay, that's hilarious. I did not realize the driver's ed thing came all the way from your time at Florida. That's hilarious.
All the way.
Oh my gosh.
Everything was planned out.
It sounds like it.
Couldn't make many mistakes. So when I originally start at Fletcher, I'm PE.
Okay.
And I'm football coach.
Assistant?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the year after you graduated from Florida. You came right back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So 1 year I was at Finnegan Elementary School.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the next year I went to Fletcher. At Finnegan is where I met Dane Gilbert, Brian's dad. Okay. So that kind of fell into place. And then when I went to Fletcher with football, I knew we needed a soccer coach. My brother Billy was a soccer coach, so I got him to hire Dane as soccer coach. So he became principal at Fletcher later.
So
and now Brian's the athletic director. So
for a very long time, it was Dane Gilbert principal, you athletic director, Coach Brown coach. Like there was like what would you even call it? Like that was like the peak of Fletcher. I was there at the very end.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, Dane was a great principal.
Oh yeah, we all loved him.
Yeah, everybody did. Yeah. And Brian's a great athletic.
Oh yeah. So, yeah. Just talking to him yesterday.
It was easy. Yeah.
So, what did you always want to come back to Fletcher, or did it just happen that way?
100%. So when I was leaving Florida, Coach Dickey, he was my coach. I got a GA job at Florida. Okay.
Oh.
So I could, coach football and get my master's at Florida. It's going to pay for everything. I think they were going to give me $6,000 a year. Doesn't sound like a lot of money, but it was pretty good. But
for then, that would have
pretty good. It was
paid,
pretty good back then. Yeah, it seemed like it was like $5,000 or $6,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of had that in my pocket. So I came home that summer.
Oh wow! I'm surprised you said no.
Said I'm going to try to get a teaching job.
Mm-hmm.
I think teachers made $11,000, so it was kind of like I was almost going to double my salary. So this is going to be good. In Gainesville, I was going to make $6,000 and go to school. I didn't have to go to school, which I was pretty tired of school at this point in time. I was real tired of school, and so that's how I got the Finnegan job,
mm-hmm.
which is now Anchor Academy, I think.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
So Finnegan's right there in the Navy base, right by Hannah Park, and now they changed the name. It's now Anchor Academy. It's still on Wonderwood Drive.
Oh, maybe I'm not sure. I don't know.
You don't know where Finnegan is?
I'm not sure.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the charter school.
No, it's not.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay,
there were no charter schools in 1976. Yes, that's a new thing. So for a year, I taught PE, and I'd go over to Fletcher and coach different sports. So the first year I coached football, basketball, and track. And
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was trying to make the extra money to pay the rent and stuff like that. You're trying to do it. I was a very average track coach, I would say. But anyway, I had fun with it. Had a good. Kevin Brown was on the track team. That was good.
Oh, that's funny.
That was fun. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That was a good time.
Yeah.
Get brownie cakes or shout out.
I know, of course. You can't.
Yeah.
We can't have a podcast with Joe
then,
without.
Then the next year, a guy named Dave Palavina was a teacher at Fletcher, a PE teacher, and he resigned, went into private business or something, and I took his PE job, and also really because he coached linebackers too. We were kind of coached, so then I coached all the linebackers by myself, which I really liked doing. But Dave was a really good coach, good teacher, and I saw him a couple of weeks ago. He's still kicking, so that's good. So then from that point on, I was at Fletcher, and I made my first mistake as I decided to be the assistant principal, the dean of boys at Fletcher.
pretty
which
early on.
I really
I have learned anything
regret
from teaching.
Yes.
And from you,
Yes.
it's that sometimes it's okay not to be the one in charge.
Yes.
It's okay to let someone else be the one in charge.
I suffered through that for 2 years.
Oh, no.
And then at that point, I went into the principal and I said, I don't want to be the dean anymore. And he says, you're really good. You're a good dean. I don't think I am good. I just think you can't get anybody else. And he says you can't go back to PE.
You weren't meaning to be funny.
Yeah. He said, that's what I said to him. He goes, you can't go back to PE. We got no openings. And so I said, I got to go get a job. So that's when I went and worked at the bank. I left and worked at the bank.
Yep.
So I went to see Guy Fornes. You all might not know, but his son Kevin years later would do the video for me, sideline video, and do our highlight video.
Oh, cool.
So I went to Guy Fornes, and I kind of told him the story I just told you guys. And he says, if you come to the bank, will they still let you coach? I don't know.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I said, this is good. He goes, yeah. He says, I think this is going to work out really well. And you know who you're going to talk to. And I said, no. I thought I had to talk to you, And he goes, you got to talk to Mr. Gill.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Gill's son, Joey, and I played Pop Warner football together.
Back to
Mr.
there you
Mr.
go.
Gill would take me to all the away games.
Yep.
And drive
You're like
me home.
perfect person.
Yeah.
This couldn't have worked out better for me.
Went back to Pop Warner. So, I walked in and, he's just the busiest man I've ever seen. He's got this huge office with his long desk and he comes in there, he hugs me and everything like that. And he says, why do you want to, quit teaching and coaching and everything? And so I tell him the story I just told about he goes, why'd you want to do that? I go, I didn't. I got talked into it. I didn't want to do it. And I don't want to do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I cannot do this anymore. He goes, okay. He goes, well, see if they'll let you coach and we'll make sure that you have time that you can leave the bank and go coach. And he goes, I don't care when it is. And I'm thinking like, what kind of job is this going to be? This is great.
Too good to be true.
And, so it was the best education I ever got in my life, because what they do is they put you in charge or, assistant in charge of every department when they're training you. So it's this extensive bank training. Like I have bank training like that nobody possibly can get. I mean, to run into mail room, sorting mail.
Go
and
from the bottom up is the best way to do it.
You start working the teller line, being a teller, talking about a hard job now. Oh, that's a hard job.
Oh, people are mean to you all day long.
That is a hard, being a teller is a hard job. So, and just went right, became loan manager, bank manager, all, worked up there. And so, but every year I coached football still.
And
just balanced it. So that's when sometimes you ask me like, well, you taught for this many years, but you coached more than, because I also taught the 8 years.
Okay.
I coached the 8 years at the bank when I wasn't teaching. I still
gotcha. Because
it doesn't add up.
I'm going to read my.
Coaching never. Never took a break.
Never really took a break from coaching. Never.
Going to read what we found. So this is just funny, and honestly, maybe someone listening was the person who made this forum. But I told you there was like a little discussion board that I saw online, and it was like a trivia thing, and it was like a picture of you. And it said, "Who's this North Florida ball coach?" And then they gave like all the stats about you, and I was like. And like, people were commenting. It was really funny, but they all had nice things to say.
Oh, that's good.
But I triple checked with you that this was accurate. So I'm going to read this because, again, I told you I was going to brag on you for a minute. So even though you've just recently retired, I would be willing to bet you're still going to be active with the football program if they needed you, or you're going to the games.
I'm going to the games.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm not
right.
doing
You can't help me anymore when I call you and say this didn't go my way. But that's fair.
Yeah, they don't need me.
Brian can do that.
The coaches are fine that we have. Yeah.
So when did you become head coach? So you've met.
So 1990.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then you retired as head coach in 2009. So that is almost
It was 20 years.
20 years. And then you filled in as interim head coach a couple times since then for.
Yeah. We've had different situations that
Right. Where you,
yes. Yeah. So let me tell you about getting the job in 1990.
Yes.
So
how long was this after?
So I'm still at the bank.
Okay.
And the job comes open, so I apply for the job.
Okay.
57 people apply for the job.
For the head coach job?
Yes, for the head coach job.
Oh, that's a lot.
So,
oh my gosh.
The principal is determined he's going to interview everybody. I don't know if he did or not. I don't know that, but he
for the 57 interviews for the football coach.
Well, apply.
Is that common for?
That's a lot. That's
no,
a
Alec,
lot.
no.
That's
I was
probably
going to
10
say.
or 12. Probably usually 10 or 12.
I mean, now it's a little bit different because
Yeah.
you can just talk to people you know a little bit more. But
So-
that's a lot of people.
So he told us all, I'm going to try to interview everybody, and so I went in and interviewed for the job. Had a really good interview, and then there was a second interview. So now it was down to 4 of us.
Okay.
Okay.
How did you get it?
So I felt very fortunate to be one of the 4. So he got it down to 4 of us, and so we did the second interview. So then there was a third interview. Okay.
What, to get you and
Down
one
to 2.
other? Oh
It was
my
down
God.
to 2. Down to 2.
Can I ask what these interviews? What were like the questions?
All right. So the first interview was plain vanilla.
Okay.
Tell us your practice schedule.
Right.
Tell us how you treat this kid
your
this way,
experience,
and give you a situation where you have a parent that your kid's not
Yeah.
playing and
How do you respond?
Stuff like that. Then the second
The interviews that I hate.
the second interview was your staff. Who are you going to hire for this? How are you going to do this there? Tell me what offense you're going to run, specifically what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So the last interview was the most fun interview.
Okay.
So I come in and I put my hands together like I'm praying, and I go, please make it stop. I'm telling him, I'm saying, this is the third interview.
Okay.
I can't take it anymore. I want this job so bad. I just think you're torturing me.
Yeah.
Please. And he goes, okay. So tell me, because we hadn't won in about 6 or 8 years. The winning at Fletcher wasn't in football.
Wasn't good. Yeah.
He said so.
You turned the program around.
Tell me how long it's going to take you to win.
Do you mean you didn't have a winning season?
Didn't have winning season.
He turned the program around, big time.
So tell me how long it's going to take you to win. I said,
Right.
I'm going to win the first year. He goes, nobody said that. He goes, there's nobody saying they could win the first year. Why do you think you can win the first year? I said, well, because I've been on the staff, I kind of know the kids. I
What's
know
going
what we
right,
should,
what's going
should
wrong.
be doing, what we can do better. So I kind of have an advantage for somebody that doesn't know the kids already. I think the first year, we can make an impact the first year, turn around first year, and then he goes, I don't know. He goes, okay, so how many years are you going to do this? I said 20 years.
Wow, you nailed it.
Wow.
I said,
Did you really mean that, or you just were like?
I wanted the job.
Yeah. Oh.
At that point, I was going to say anything.
To get.
Yeah, I said 20 years.
I mean, you actually nailed that.
Nobody says 20 either. Nobody says they can do this more than 10 years.
Yeah.
I can do it 20 years. I can do this.
That's so cool.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was strange.
zinger.
And the first year we win our first game. Mm-hmm. We beat Ed White, and they're really good.
Yeah.
Very fortunate to win the game, 7-0, and then we lose 3 games in a row.
And you're like, oh crap.
And I'm thinking I'm going to get fired.
Were they that harsh on the coaches if you were losing? Like you really could have been fired?
It was like Friday Night Lights out there, Alec.
Well, they didn't have a winning season yet. It's not like a new situation.
I was putting pressure on myself.
Right.
I know that. I don't know that the principal was or anybody else was. But
Well, I think it's like any time. I mean, it's like even in an NFL team when you get a new coach, you're like, we're gonna win, and then they start, and you're like,
Yeah.
All right.
And then we won 6 games in a row.
No, wow.
Yeah, so it was great.
You were like,
7-3 now.
Yeah, we're 7-3. Yeah, we're pretty happy.
Yeah.
And see, and now if you're 7-3, you go to the playoffs. So,
Right.
But in those days you didn't. You had to win the district. We were district runner-up.
Oh, okay.
In those days, now district runner-up get to go to the playoffs. But we didn't get to go that year.
I don't remember district runner-up I don't remember we got to go to the
You
playoffs.
stayed true to your word. You had a winning
Yeah.
season.
We did.
So that's
Luckily.
whoever this person was on the forum. If you want to come forward, please let us know who you were.
Maybe it was
They
Kevin
knew a
Brown.
lot of. Maybe it was you.
Maybe it was Kevin Brown. Yeah. Kevin Brown knows everything.
Because they knew all of this. They said you retired as head coach in 2009 after putting in 20 seasons. Fletcher had a losing program when coach started, but he quickly turned them around. And there was somebody else in the chat called Columbia Fan. They also knew that you yourself was an alumni of Fletcher High and played linebacker for the Gators in the 70s. So I'm convinced it was you.
It wasn't me. You should know better.
This person knows.
You should know better. How you know
He doesn't know how to enter
You know
his
I don't go on the
grades.
internet
I was
or
gonna say,
anything like that. I've never been on the internet
Brian
in my
Gilbert
life.
and myself had to enter his grades for him because he didn't know what.
There we go.
When I told him what a
You know
discussion
better.
board was, he was like, "I don't know."
Yeah.
And then
It ain't me, babe.
they went on. Someone else in the chat knew you as well, or at least knew about you.
Yeah.
Because they said they knew that you were the assistant coach in the late 70s and early 80s, and they were like that you've spent over 35 years there. And I just want to keep reiterating this sentiment that this person said. Again, I don't know if they even know you, but they just said, like, Lord knows how many young people that you helped during your time. Yeah, including in me. And if you want to share
President
that.
company included.
Yeah. And they all, a lot of some of the things that they also were saying is that probably the most, one of the most important people that you coached was Seatric, and
sure.
he's the head coach right now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's really cool.
Seatric was easily the best player. Yes.
Yes.
Easily.
Okay.
Easily,
I was
yeah.
like, I'm going to say
Yeah.
that, but if I'm
Yeah.
wrong, you can push back.
No,
but yeah.
He was easily the best player.
Yes,
But there was
absolutely.
a lot of good ones.
Right, of course. Yeah, there's been a lot of good. Yes.
Yeah. Andre, when you always talking about best players, I always think of Andre Cooper because, Andre played at Florida State, won a national championship. Then he played for the Denver Broncos and won the Super Bowl.
Wow.
So he's walking around
Yeah.
with a national championship ring on one finger
And you
a
coached
Super
him?
Bowl ring on the other. Yeah. So
That's cool. You've coached a Super Bowl winner.
So
That's really cool.
Dre was pretty good too.
Yeah. And so, did you want to ask your question? Because I will gladly share how you helped me because I think the story, looking back 10 years, it's funny. At the time, I was very angry with you. I was so mad at you at the time. I was so mad at you. How Joe helped me.
Brooke decided to tell a very specific story that we had to take out. So I took it out.
This is like not a thing anymore. Like you were like, no more with this guy, no more with this drama. And it was.
Don't take him back.
Yes. It was, and same thing with Alec. It was not aggressive. It was not hateful. It was like, no more. Like, we're done doing this. And it just, I don't know, I guess you perfected the art of getting that kind of thing across without it being, not being, and so I just, like, I remember going home, because at that time I didn't have the relationship with you that I have now.
Yeah.
Who is Joe Reynolds? Like, how dare he call me in the office and tell me how to live my life? And my dad's like, who is Joe Reynolds? Are you kidding me? And so then I felt, like an idiot. But he's like, why do you think you're at Fletcher? Why do you think you're doing X, Y, Z? Why do you think you got the schedule you want? I'm like mad. I'm like, how dare he tell me what to do?
You got no business telling me who to date.
And I look back and I'm like, wow, I really needed somebody at the school to tell me, like, oh gosh, she's such a brat. But yeah, that's just my story. But you,
That's great.
My
I do
dad-
remember that.
my dad
I
just-
remember both of y'all's stories. Yours is over there by driver's head.
Yeah. You sat me down right out there. Yeah. That's crazy you remember that.
but
I
that's
didn't think you
just
would remember that.
my dad like, I know I don't remember if it was that day or whatever, but he just said to me, like, that you have helped more kids in this community than probably anybody. So,
I'm sorry, Coral, that was aggressive. But.
yeah, I just want you to know. I think you know that, but I hope you know that.
Is there anything you would like to say to the listeners, or anything you wanted to get out before it's over?
No, I promise you, it sounds like I've helped some people, but I got more out of it than all y'all put together did. So, yeah, I wouldn't trade it. I am really glad that I retired, though.
Yes, that's been the big kind of news of the beach that you just.
There's no regrets.
You woke up and just.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a Wimpy Sutton story. Years ago, I was talking to Coach Sutton, and he had decided to retire. He was the AD at Mayport Middle at this time.
Okay.
And then he ran for school board a little bit after that. But maybe Steve Jarrett was with me. I think so. Anyway, we'll have to ask Steve. Steve's got a really good memory because he might remember this. But anyway, so it seemed like a third person was there too. I'm trying to remember. But anyway, so he decided to retire, and I said, how did you know when to retire? How did you know it's time?
Yeah.
He goes, oh, don't ever worry about it.
You'll know.
You will know.
Yeah.
You will absolutely know when you can't do it anymore. Mm-hmm. And so last spring, about April or May, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
But I said, why don't I back off of being athletic director? Mm-hmm. I can still teach driver's ed.
Have a little left in the tank.
Yeah, I'll do a little less, and come back in the fall, get through the summer, help Theatrics some more, maybe a little bit, get everything going, and then go ahead and stay 2, 3, 4, whatever I feel like staying. Maybe it'll all be different. But it just got worse and worse.
You're just, every day we're waking up.
Every day was like, oh my God. And literally on Sundays, I would be so excited because Monday I'd be going back to school.
Right. And you didn't have that feeling anymore?
Every day. Oh, I didn't have any. It was like, can I get through this day and get home and just take a nap and try to, put the day. And the kids are great. It wasn't anything. It was me. It was just. It was just what Wimpy said.
Time. It was just time.
It was time. So I probably went 9 weeks too long.
Yeah.
I should have.
Well, when you called me, I was, I guess I wasn't. It's surprising, but it's not. Gosh. It's surprising, but it's not that. It wasn't that surprising, and you just. She's just not good. Well. The last thing that Alec and I love, God, there's so many animals in this thing. My dog loves you because he remembers you when I first got him. I used to take him around to the school with you. We love to ask everybody who, especially I feel so lucky that we get to talk to all these incredible people who've made such an impact on others. And so we love to ask a final question. And you can answer this how you want to. You can answer it maybe in the broader sense or more so just, the beaches community always being so tight-knit, always being so loving and together. And it's changed a lot. It really has. And I think, even us as former teachers at Fletcher, we noticed that too. So what advice do you have for this current generation? Again, you can answer that in a broader sense, or if you'd rather be more specific and answer that in terms of our very tight-knit community, if you had something that you off the top of your head wanted to tell this generation, what would you tell them?
Well, it's kind of what I've got to say is really somewhat towards the older generation.
Please.
So they'll kind of understand this generation a little bit better.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the kind of the problems.
Absolutely.
So the thing that really has happened to the younger generation are the phones. The telephones. Mm-hmm. In one aspect, it's great because I think you're safer. I think the communication's better. Parents know where the kids are. Kids can get a hold of parents.
Yep.
I think that's great. But the internet side of this
can be really dangerous.
And it's just it's almost too much for their. So kids' mind is developing. They used to talk about in driver's ed. Why do you wait till you're 21 to be legally to drink alcohol? It's the liver. your liver's not mature yet.
Right.
You know, that's really
In
the
your brain.
But it's the brain.
Yeah.
And what's happened is this social media, all this is on the brains, and they can't handle it. That's what they can't handle.
And
they can handle everything else. They can't handle
it.
the phone.
I read
Point.
I read a really interesting article about how part of the disconnect is because, like, even our parents did not grow up, even we didn't really, with this, like, constant. And so parents and their children don't know how to communicate because they don't understand at all the technology world versus, like, the lesser technology world. And also something interesting, and Alec will tell you this, every time we ask this question, someone brings up internet and social media and the
really?
phone world.
Yeah.
Yes, every time. So I'm really glad you kept that going.
Yeah, that's
touch grass.
my thing. Because people say, you know, kids are different now. They're not really that much different. It's the phone.
It's the phones.
It's the phone.
Because when you get them in there, you know, if you like take them to the park, just let them. They'll do their thing. They'll do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
take them to the beach. They'll start playing in the sand. You know, it's they'll do what they're meant to do.
Yeah, right,
but
yeah,
it is, and
Yeah. It's
yeah,
the phones.
it is the
Thank you so much
phones.
for doing this. This was
Now
Yeah.
I've got pumpkin French. I forgot to get you a water. I'm sorry.
I was getting thirsty.
A lot of distractions. I've got pumpkin French toast for you.
Very good.
Well, Joe, thank you.
Say something to the cameras. If
Yeah.
You want, like, hey,
Final.
say, get outside, kids.
I'll do
Yeah,
my Forrest
kids.
Gump wave.
Yeah. Tell them go outside, touch grass.
Get off the phone.
Yeah, put your phone down.
Well, Wilson Coffey, who was head football coach at Reynolds, but he started as my assistant coach, and now he's up in Georgia as the athletic director. He always would come up to me and put his arm around me and say, "Hey, man, let's go play in the dirt." And I go, "Let's do it.
Yep.
Let's go do it." So,
love that.
go play in the dirt.
Go play in the dirt.
Go play in the dirt.
Love that. Peace out, Joe. Thanks.